All right, and we are back between two Yetis with Kit Denison. How are you, sir?
A pleasure. Great.
Good. Is Kit your real name, or is it short for something?
It's Christopher is the full name. Kit is a nickname for Christopher.
And you had that since you were a kid, yeah?
Very early, yeah.
Very cool. Cool. No, never met anyone called Kit before. That's very interesting. But you were obviously with Denison, hence the name.
Yeah.
But you started well before brokerage. What did you start with?
Started boat building, actually.
A name I think we're familiar with, right?
Yes, Broward for one. And then after that, I bought 100 boats after that. Then we started Denison Yachts.
Interesting.
And in about 1993, the companies emerged, and we built quite a few boats, about 250 altogether.
250 total Browards are out there currently in the market.
Browards and Denisons, yes.
You obviously did very success with the Broward product in the early days. What was the driving force? Why were they so successful?
I think probably three reasons. One of them was that we, and I'm speaking here of my dad, and my mother would help do the decorating like my wife Ann did for our company. But we listened to people because it's their boat, and they had very specific things that they wanted in a boat.
Absolutely.
I think that was one. Another one was that we were able to get a lot of volume in a boat. We were the first boat that got, for example, 3 staterooms in a 61-foot boat. And then the third thing was that we were able to have enough money left after we built some boats to continue to build hulls, so that we would have at least 1 or 2 hulls on spec that would be available. So instead of sitting down and going over the plans, people would be able to say, here's a boat, I can touch it. Now we want to put these engines in this interior.
Interesting. So you're always forward thinking, as I know your family pretty much well is. Interesting thing for you, because you've been in the industry so long. Is there trends that people follow when buying or boats are being built? Like in the early 10 years ago, people had to go fast. Now it's like you said, you got 3 staterooms in a 60-footer. What trends do you see coming now that people are looking for? And where's that going to go?
That's a great question. I spent this show representing a couple of Rossioli's boats. One was a Bertram, which we sold. Another is this 58 Donzi over here.
That he built, I remember.
Rossioli Donzi. And that boat, just to give you an example of one trend I see, is that there's a lot of these boats, instead of being traditional motor yachts or even traditional sport fisher convertibles, it's a mixture of something between a cruiser, an express, and a convertible.
Interesting. Okay.
With a much more casual layout, where people aren't constricted with heavy furniture and that sort of thing. But I don't think there's any overwhelming trend. I mean, boats tend to get bigger. And that's a matter, I think, more of ego than anything else. There's somebody that wants to have a bigger boat.
The next step, absolutely.
I think that there is going to be a lot of particularly young people. I'm not good on, like millennials or whoever, X-Gens or whatever. But clearly electric cars, and we're going to see a lot of, I think, electric boats.
Oh, you think?
Oh, yeah.
And hybrids.
And hybrids, yeah, no question about it.
Interesting.
I think green, as a general term, is going to continue to be big. I think young people, particularly today, are going to be, they're very concerned about the environment and very concerned about being practical. So maybe some of the opulent lots, there'll still be opulent yachts, but I think there'll be a lot more practical boats.
Now, let's talk politics real quick. Since the election last year, have you seen an increased rise in boat sales? As I spoke to a few other people, and they said since the election, it certainly has got a lot more fruitful for everyone?
I can literally remember from November 6th until the end of November, there was a definite spike, and it hasn't stopped.
Interesting.
I think that what this president is done with all the different controversy, he's a business guy. In fact, I went to his same school, so I was 3 years ahead of him. He did a lot better than I did, probably in grades and everything else. But he's tapped into a sort of a mood in the country to get down to business, although the politics continues to be divided and it's irritating to watch all this stuff go on. But just the basics, cutting taxes, getting rid of regulations, business people, and we're seeing it here. For example, this show I think has been the best that we've seen for a while.
Okay.
My son Bob could give you the stats, but I know we've sold a good number of boats here.
Well done.
But people will tend to, if they're going to buy a boat, particularly a new boat, they're thinking ahead 18 months or so. So you know that the economy is going to be good. They're not going to drop off the cliff in 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's a very good sign. Optimism is high. And so, my dad always said, you never need a boat.
Yep.
And yet, you can't really enjoy your 401k or your bank account. But I think it's encouraging. I hope it goes on. From everything I'm reading, it'll continue to expand, and that's good for everybody.
Well, that absolutely is. And I was talking to one of my dealers who sells princesses over in Oklahoma. Hadn't sold one for 4 years. And then the day after the election, and that week he sold 4 or 5. And that's because there's a lot of, like you said, divisive rhetoric going around, and you speak to people who are on the other side, and they're very skeptical that he's done anything. It was a rise that continued from the previous administration, but unfortunately I don't see any evidence of that.
I don't think so.
Dear, oh dear. Well, what do you think of the new changes to the show that MIAS have done? The days, Wednesday to Sunday, great idea, no?
I think it's great. I had a chance to sit and listen to the new folks that are involved in the show. And, for many years in the last 20 years, I went to the Monaco show, and they've done a great job with that. Although every show is different, we're not Monaco. We want to sell that guy or that family a 25-foot Dusky or Boston whaler, and then sell them a Sea Ray, and then a Bertram, and so on. So the path forward is a little bit more humble here, but they're doing a great job. They're trying hard to make this a really, really good show. And you know what? They're listening. They're asking people what's right, what's wrong. They're not trying to tell you what they're going to do, and that's too bad if you don't.
I mean, just even on a small scale, the new floating docks, I mean, they're all beautiful, aren't they? I mean, compared to last year and the 20 years we've been here. But anyway, I've taken enough of your time.
Well,
thank you very much, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.